Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For those who are new, welcome. In today's video is going to be my May mid-month wrap-up, and it is very hot and humid outside because we had a massive thunderstorm midday and it brought in a lot of hot humid air, so my fan is staying on so I don't die. So in the first half month of May I read 18 books, and one was a DNF, and it was because I was bored, and it's in a vlog, and I'll link that vlog down below if you're interested to hear what I have to say. I actually had some top reads in that vlog as well. So I actually got fairly far in that, so I'm counting it because I got over 50%. If I get over 50%, I am going to count it towards my goal because that's more than a novella. So that's why. So, but let's start with my top reads. So the first top read that I had, or the one that I really enjoyed, I gave 4 stars, was Treasures Lost, Treasures Found by Nora Roberts. This one was written in 1986, and it does read like it is 1986. So as you know, I'm going through a backlist. So this one is about Kate and Kai, and it's a second chance romance where her father was a treasure hunter because he was researching this ship called the Liberty that was sunk off the coast of North Carolina centuries ago, and so he figured out where it was. So he's hired Kai 4 years before. That's when Kai and Kate first interacted with each other, and they actually had a little bit of romance until her father kind of said some things and she went off in huff and was gone for 4 years. Well, she's back now that her father's dead to find this treasure, and they do. It was a decent romance. It was on the water. I've read this in for the Ever After readathon because I'm Team Pirates. So if it's gonna be on the water, I'm gonna read it. And this one was, and it was atmospheric. You had the treasure hunting where you read that they were going down and searching through the muck on the bottom of the ocean and finding gold and finding clay pots and stuff, and it was, well, they were rekindling their relationship after getting over some of the crap. I will say this, there is some dubious consent in this, but here's the thing, this was written in 1986. Think about Kathleen E. Woodiwiss, early Johanna Lindsay, stuff like that. I expect that when a book is written around the 1970s and 1980s and early 90s actually. So yeah, I did like that one and I would recommend that one. The next book I want to talk about is Mountain Boss by S.J. Tilley. This one I read in that vlog where I DNF'd a book. That book was Lady Pirate, and it was in the vlog, the Manchester May vlog. So I wanted to read Mountain Boss. It had the whole Manchester thing. I gave it 4 stars and I really enjoyed it. If you want to know my full thoughts on that, just go watch that vlog down below because it is what it is. But I really enjoyed it. I liked the characters, I liked the romance, and he was very much kind of an alpha hole towards her. He's like, nobody's gonna touch her and stuff, and I enjoyed my time in that book. And then in the same vlog I read Using Feeho by Victoria Eveline. This is book 5 in the Clinarian series. I gave that one 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed that one. This is an alien pirate romance, and it fit the pirate theme and it fit the Manchester theme, and I would absolutely recommend you read that book. I love Feeho. I absolutely love him. And you want to know my full thoughts, go watch that vlog. It's linked down below. Then I am going to talk about a reread. I reread Come Sundown. That is my favorite Nora Roberts book. Well, one of them. I have a few, but that one is a very good romantic suspense, and if I had to reread it, I'd give it 5 stars still. And there is a bit of a dual timeline, but there's a reason for it, and I highly recommend you read that book. The next book I want to talk about, it was an ALC that I got from Must Love Audio, and it was Finding Home by Jen McMahon. I think that's how you say McMahon. This is my first book from her, and I really enjoyed my time in this book. It is a small town fish out of water romance. She is our heroine Blair. She catches her husband, who is the mayor of San Francisco, cheating, and she's like, I'm out. And because he was really not nice to her. He basically made her into a trophy wife, and so she was like, and kept her on the hook with like, oh yeah, we'll start having kids soon. Never did, and she walked in on him doing the deed with his secretary. How cliche is that? But anyway, so she decides she's had enough, and she ends up moving to a small town, into a small house next to a guy who is a very, very grumpy cowboy who owns the bar, and his family basically owns the town too, and it is their romance. And he once he gets over his stuff, he's seriously gone. For our heroine, I really liked her. She is very much sunshiny. I really liked her dog, Reginald. This whole book was a lot of fun. And then I liked the character Nan, who was not a real estate agent, but she sold Blair the house. I'm not sure how that worked, but anyway, she was a lot of fun. She was very nosy into everybody's business, but I enjoyed that one. I gave 4 stars, and I do recommend that you check it out. The audio was fantastic. Next book that I want to talk about is Jilted by Vi Keelan. I gave this 4.5 stars. This was about Sloane. She is a disgruntled writer for Brides magazine. She used to love weddings and she had her whole wedding picked out. She even had a dress picked out before she met her groom, who in turn left her at the altar for his ex-girlfriend. And 6 months later, she goes to a wedding where she meets Wilder Hayes. He's one of the groomsmen, and she's writing a piece for the Brides magazine. Well, her boss is Hayes's father, and so she doesn't quite know that. He is instantly attracted to her, and she thought he was kind of a bit of an idiot at the beginning. And I'm saying idiot because if I say the other word I normally say, I probably will get in trouble, and I'm trying not to get in trouble because I found that sometimes when I say certain words, people tend to get annoyed with me. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so at this wedding, the bride was horrible. She was very much a bridezilla, to the point where you wanted to lock her in a closet or something. But Sloane stepped in as a bridesmaid because one of the bridesmaids was too luxuriously tan for them, and it was a whole thing. But anyway, so she stepped in as a bridesmaid, and she looked ridiculous, but she got to dance with Wilder, and then they ended up drunk and making out in a closet. Well, he did not forget about her, and he's also a billionaire. His mom was British and his dad was an American, and he's been living in London for 10 years with his younger brother, and he does everything he can to see Sloane again. And as he does, they just hit it right off, and some of their stuff comes out, but then they work through it, and it's fantastic. I really enjoyed this one. I gave 4.5 stars. It has all the humor, the angst, the tension, all the great stuff that I know. The banter, I love Vi Keelan's banter, I think is great. And I actually really liked the characters. The characterizations was really good. The character development was fantastic in this book, and I highly recommend it. I gave it 4.5 stars. And then the next 4.5 stars I gave was To Marriage and Nasty by, what is her name? Nisha Sharma. So I've never read a Nisha Sharma book before, so she's a new to me author, and I didn't know what to expect from this. I just picked it out because it was on my Libby, and it was on a challenge that from Goodreads. I was like, okay, I'll try it. I realized that she was the person who wrote Dating Dr. Dill, and I've actually never read Dating Dr. Dill, so this was my first from her, and I was really impressed. This is a 12th Night retelling, which is another reason why I picked it out, because I love She's the Man. It's one of my favorite teen movies of all time, and I love the play 12th Night. I've seen it, the Shakespearean play. They did that one. Was it that one? I think it was that one. Was that one or another one? It was another one of his comedies, but anyway, I enjoyed that one a lot. So this one is Vera and Deepak, and this is a marriage of convenient fake marriage. So they somehow accidentally got married in the Hindu ceremony. It wasn't legal because they didn't actually sign the paper, but in the Hindu religion, they were married. And so they've had feelings for each other for a very long time, but neither of them really wanted to do anything about it because they didn't want to ruin their friendship. So he ended up getting engaged to this woman named Olivia, and then she breaks it off with him, and then he needs to save face because he's about to get promoted to CEO once his father retires, but he has to prove to the board that he's the man for the job. Well, Vera, she is not talking to her father because her father is a horrible human being. She decides she wants to help Deepak, and so she does. And they end up living together and pretending to be married, except that pretending didn't last very long. And this was spicy. For a traditional book, I was impressed by the amount of spice that was in this book. I mean, I was like, okay. But there was a lot of great tension in this book. And I loved Vera. And I loved Deepak. And I loved that they communicated well with each other. And that they didn't always believe what other people were saying about each other. And I loved having the Bollywood feel to this story and having the Indian culture in this story. It was such a good time. I do highly recommend this. And then my next big read, and there was a bunch that was sprinkled in there, and I was like 3 stars, 3.5 stars, was a reread, and it was Love in the Afternoon by Lisa Kleypas. I'm not going to talk a lot about this because I've talked about this probably a lot on my channel. This is a historical romance, and it's book 5 in the Hathaway series. It is Beatrix Hathaway and Christopher Phelan. And I love Beatrix with all my heart. I love Christopher with all my heart. I love that they're opposite attracts, and there's a lot of healing in this book. The PTSD rep is fantastic. I love Beatrix and her pets, like her pet hedgehog named Matilda. I love that character that much. Like she's feisty, she is opinionated, and she does not give a crap what people think about her. And I absolutely love her, and I love how she takes care of animals and people, and that she truly does emotionally care about people, and how the reason why they got together was because of a letter that he wrote about his time in the Crimea War, and that he was supposed to be writing to her best friend Prudence as being a suitor because he went to war, and she's the one who wrote him back because Prudence was being mean and not writing him back. And so yeah, she's like, no, you need to write him back, and Prudence was like, no. So they actually fell in love through those letters, and I just love this book so much. And I gave it 5 stars the first time. I gave it 5 stars the second time, and the third time, and the fourth time, and I think this is my 5th time reading this book. That's how much I love this book. So there's that. Next book I want to talk about is A Matter of Chance by Nora Roberts. This is one of her standalones. I believe this was written, I had it written down. No, I didn't. Let me look. This was officially written in 1984. It was published May 1st, 1984. Okay. So this one is a standalone romantic suspense, and it's about an antiques dealer named Jessica who is fairly flighty. She loves her antiques, and she's really good at bargaining and getting these antiques in. Well, someone is using her antique shop to smuggle in diamonds and other contraband into the United States. Slade is a I believe he was a police captain. Her godfather is like the police commissioner in New York City, and so he has Slade go in undercover to protect her from what's going on, because she actually doesn't know. And so he goes in, and he thinks she might know, but he realizes very quickly that she doesn't know. And someone is trying to kill her because she has something that was being smuggled in. Someone who's around her has been doing the smuggling behind her back, but they're trying to stop the bad guy from actually hurting her. While Slade is undercover with Jessica, the undercover doesn't last very long. He just kind of slips up, and she realizes he's a cop, and he ends up putting her in protective custody to keep her safe. And it is their love story. Yes, there is some alcohol tendencies that Slade does. I mean, it was 1984 again, but the story was plotted well. The characters were fun and interesting, and the romance was pretty good. This one is very short, and it's very sweet. It does what it promises it's going to be. A romantic suspense with just a little bit of steam, and your characters who are bantering back and forth and, well, trying to keep her safe and finding out who is the smugglers and who is on her team who started it. So the next book I want to talk about is Shield of Sparrows by Devney Perry. I gave 4.5 stars. I really liked this book. It was a lot of fun. I loved Odessa. I know Odessa asks a lot of questions, as she does. She is the character she's kept naive by her father and her sister, and by the people around her. People are deceiving her. She doesn't know that people are deceiving her. And so she really can't trust anybody, but she doesn't know that. And she doesn't know a lot about the world because she was kept in this bubble wrapped of a life at the palace where her father ruled. Well, she wasn't supposed to be the chosen bride to be the sparrow to the crown prince. His name is Xavier, but her sister was supposed to be chosen. When they came, she was chosen over her sister. They knew her sister was going to be a spy and do all this bad stuff. So that was neither here nor there. So she ends up going with the prince and the guardian. The guardian is like this guy who has these superpowers. And there is these monsters that are coming in and killing people. And they seem to be targeting her or the guardian. And so they're trying to get from her father's palace. They take a boat, so it's on the water. So there you go. Crystal, it's on the water, and then they travel and they end up in these tree houses and stuff because on the ground it's just not safe because of all these mutated monsters. And something is driving these monsters. Something is this blight that's coming over, and I'm not going to tell you what it is because I don't want to ruin it for you. I liked how it was explained towards the end what we found out, why this happened, and how the guardian became the guardian, and why these monsters are so animalistic but yet very intelligent. There are still a lot of unanswered questions, but we find out who she can trust, who she can't trust, and there's some very sad moments in there, but I really loved how Devney Perry wrote Odessa and the Guardian. I loved the romance that was built up. She went from a really interesting dynamic between Odessa and her husband all the way until revealed, and I really loved a lot of the secondary characters. They were well thought out, they were well plotted. There's a lot of twists and turns in this. There was a lot of stuff that happened and I was like, okay. Now there was a little bit of lull around the 20 to 30-40% for me, and the other problem that I had with it is the world was a little thin. She was layering on it as we were going on, so we were learning more. I thought the writing was clean. It could have used a little more world building, and we could have taken like maybe the 20 to 30% and reduced it so it's not so long, because that's the part where I actually felt the length. The rest of it, I didn't feel the length. Like, I was having a good time. This book was a lot of fun, and I have questions that I need answered. And I really did like Odessa as she grew as a character. She went from being this naive girl to being able to fight for herself and to be able to save herself in some specific instances. I liked her character growth. Character growth is so important to me as a reader. I have to be able to connect to the characters, and they have to be able to learn and grow and be able to get there, not just to get their AGAs, but to keep me interested. There has to be tension, there has to be angst, and there was tension, there was angst. I really loved the Guardian. I really loved Prince Xavier. I really liked some of the introductions that we had. There is stuff that still needs to be built up, but I suspect we will know a lot more coming into the next book. I don't know when that will be out, but hopefully very soon. Anyways, as you could have gathered, I've had no 5 stars so far in the month of May. That is not like me. I usually find a 5-star. So right now I am listening to A Ship of Bones and Teeth by Karina Halley. And right now it's about a 4 to 4.5 stars. Hopefully I'm not too far in it. I'm at the part where Ramsey, our pirate guy, just took her and Prince Eric hostage. So I'm very curious to see how this goes. So that is my mid-month wrap-up. Let me know if you read any of these books below. Do you like them? Do you dislike them? Do you agree with me about Shield of Sparrows? If you don't, that's totally fine. Listen, I can take criticism on any book. I can even take criticism on Love in the Afternoon, and I've read that book a lot, okay? If you don't like it, that's okay, but if you like it, I would love to know who's your favorite character. And if you made it this far in this video and you want to let me know that you're here, please leave me a... You know what? Leave me a crown emoji, because I've read A Shield of Sparrows, which was about a prince and a princess, and now I'm reading A Ship of Bones and Teeth, which is about a prince and a princess. So leave me a crown emoji. And until next time, my friends, happy reading. Bye.